I think it's really important, especially for people to be able to get our messages from people that we identify with. What's it mean specifically for you to do this work as a Black woman?
Oh, it means everything. I love being black. I love being black. I love being I call myself a plain old black girl from Detroit. I don't need to put on any airs or any affect. I'm the cool auntie who will sit and play a game of spades with you and serve you up some macaroni and cheese and also make sure that you prayed Isha, right? I think as a black woman to do the work that I do with as much I've gotten death threats, I've gotten rape threats, I've gotten all kinds of threats, and a lot of it has to do with my blackness, but it is also because I am a black woman that I can stand in the face of people who would try to silence and oppress me. I also represent a community of people globally who have been hypersexualized.
Yeah.
Black women's bodies have been used as tools of, seen as only tools of fetish or production. So for me to take a principled stance and a stance as an educator, it means everything to me because then I get to shift that narrative. I get to shift the narrative about what it means to be a Muslim woman, but also what it means to be a black woman and standing on my blackness. And what I found is, someone was like, "Oh, Sister Angelica, I would love to take your class, but I'm not black." I was like, "Listen, you ain't gotta be black to rock with me. I have students from all walks of life. And because I stand unapologetically in my space as a black woman, that means anybody can come exactly as they are. You don't have to put on anything. You know this. You've been in African American messages. It's always, all different kinds of people who come into our spaces because we stand up as who we are. It gives people permission to be who they are. And that's what I love about the way that I have been able to create a community is that the same way you see me online, that's the same way I am offline. Like I don't
Mhm.
have a brand in that sense. That's just me. That's
Right.
It's a name, but that's just me. That's how I am.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like I've been really blessed and fortunate to help a lot of people into their like journey to Islam, like convert and explore Islam and things like that. And so, and a lot of them are not black. Like a lot of them are white, and so people are always like, "Yeah, I love Islam." And so we'll start talking, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I want to be a Muslim." And so I'll set up a Shahada ceremony for them, and then they'll be like, "Yeah, I'm going to take my wife and visit our local mosque." And I'm like, "Hold on."
Right.
Let's okay now. Well, all right, what you got to understand, the way my religious community is set up, you know what I'm saying? It's like you never know what that's gonna be like. But literally, whoever it is, I'm like, if there is a majority African American masjid in your city, you're gonna be okay going there. And
Mhm.
usually, we can tell by the name of the masjid if it's like the Cleveland Masjid of Al Islam or something. It's like,
There
go
you
yeah,
go.
go there. You know what I mean?
The black
Or
people are there.
yeah, you know what I mean? Any place where you can go, and what's amazing about that is that, a lot of times these are going to be people who like the elders there converted with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Clara Muhammad and Malcolm X, and
Mhm.
you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And like these are people that anybody can go there. And it's amazing that one of the things I think makes everybody in the world nowadays is drawn to it's always been this way, but like as most of the world loses its connection with aspects of meaning, like ways to engage the meaning of life, so most people don't have a religious practice anymore,
Mhm.
and the entire
Mhm.
world looks to Black cultural and artistic expression to not only engage meaning but to remember and have some sort of sense of like what does it mean to be human.
Mm.
And the fact that that African people are the mother and father of humanity, like literally the origin of humanity, to still be the ones to teach what it is to be human, on all fronts, is so fitting. And I mean, obviously, sexuality is going to be, at the heart of that.
Mhm. At 100%. I'm just coming back from Los Angeles. I was there doing a workshop at Isla.
Mm.
And that's one of our favorite communities. We love it so much there. And I talk to them about how what you see there is an example of prophetic love. You see that example of the brothers. There was a young 14-year-old brother who was taking his shahada, and it was after Jummah. So there are all these black men standing out in the hallway, big dudes with like beards. I was one dude. I looked at him. I was like, I know he could fight. You know how you could look at somebody, you could tell if it's something go down, I'm gonna go stand next to him because he look like he could fight, right?
Right. Yeah,
Inshallah. Brothers
he'll
coming
knock
from
everybody out with one.
exactly, exactly. And
Them
and
brothers
as
be
the
named
young
Kabir,
yeah, always, always. And he the one to teach martial arts on the
Jihad.
weekend.
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So so the young brother, he's reciting his shahada, and the men in the hallway, I don't even know if they realized they were doing it. They were all whispering it along with him. And it was just such a beautifully intimate, nurturing moment. And, my children, we live in Phoenix, Arizona. There's not a lot of, there's a lot of African Americans, but we don't really have like a very active, vibrant African American Muslim community. And my kids are like, Mom, can we come back next weekend? Like, can we come back here every time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I came into Islam through the Tijani community that is situated in a Worthdeen Muhammad Masjid. And I'm so thankful that I had that experience because had I gone to some of these masajid, I don't know. I don't know if it would have made it because it's so it's a lot. It's a lot. And none of it is religious. It's all cultural. It's all cultural.
Or lack of culture. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like one of the things that like, we're taught, like, especially those of us that converted, and, it's like, well, how come there's all this weird stuff with the
Mhm.
Muslims? And a lot of times we say, well, you have to understand the difference between religion and culture. And what I've learned from Dr. Resma Menakem is, especially, is like, man, that stuff is not culture. Like those are the remnants and the like deculturalization maybe of what those people have experienced when they were colonized, when they were, going through their period of being, stripped from their connection to their own past.
Mm.
But I mean, culture is always this is what he says, and I think there's something really to this. But like culture in itself always is a preservation of meaning and of love and of
Mm.
connection. That like, but as people lost their own culture.
And they get mad at you when you don't lose yours.
That's right.
They get mad at you. I've had people say, "Oh, Sister Angelica, sometimes you're just a little too much." I said, "But what is too much? I'm not too much. I'm not too. Oh, the way you talk, if you just elevate your speech a little bit." I said, I talk in a way that people know exactly where I'm from and exactly who I am, and I'm speaking the language of the people. If that bothers you, if I have to, put some bleach on who I am and just wash all the goodness out, then I'll just be left with the shell of myself. And it's like a lot of us are chasing this false ideal that doesn't really exist, and we strip ourselves of our humanity when we do that. One of Resma Minikim's students is a very close friend of mine. She's a part of our sisters organization, and when she's a Palestinian woman, Khadija Salim. She does a class on ancestral trauma, and she said, "I no longer say the word people of color. I say bodies of culture."
Yeah.
Because we are not reduced to the color of our skin. We are people of culture. And I think that speaks to what you shared from Resma Minikim, and just this idea that um, culture is a way for us to continue to connect to our humanity in a world that constantly wants to dehumanize us.
And I think that culture is just it's really imperative. It's like necessary. It's this idea that we would somehow like lose who we are when we come into Islam is it's just such a really crazy idea that I think people are really convinced though, that that for us to be our best selves, we would be shedding something about who we are and where we come from.
Mm. As if Allah didn't know who we were when we were called.
Hmm.
No, Allah knew who He was bringing into the fold.
Yeah.